Hey there, welcome to the show. This is Robert,
And Brian,
and you are listening to Spiking the Punch Bowl podcast, a Radio Wastelands production.
yep, we're here at Java Creek Cafe once again this week,
Yep,
and want to thank them again for
again,
hosting us.
again, one wonderful venue. Someday we might do a live feed from here and maybe have an audience once we get more people listening to us.
You're right.
Oh, wait, we have to let it get out there, though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do.
So if you're listening to this in future tense, yes, we're slow and go, but we are happening.
Well, it does take a little time getting them all put together and stuff.
Exactly. Life happens, and we're trying to make this our job, but unfortunately, we have not made this our job yet.
Yeah, this is like job extra.
Exactly.
But, you gotta start small, start somewhere, do something. It's great. It's fun. It's work, but it's
Exactly.
fun.
Exactly. So, usually we start up in asking each other how our week was, what we did last week. How was your week last week?
Interesting. I was woke up an hour earlier in the week, and it was my neighbor very distraught over the fact that he had ran into the back of my Jeep and broke the taillight out. And the guy's going through a lot of stuff with life.
Okay.
His life does get away from you.
Right.
And I knew this was going on, but beyond that, the fact that he came up to me and let me know that he screwed up.
Right.
Something bad happened. And he damaged my stuff. It happens.
Right.
The best thing you can do is own up to something like that, because people might get mad, but they're going to be a little more understanding if you actually talk to them.
Right, exactly.
So, I wasn't super upset about it. I was glad he didn't hit my wife's car, which is brand new, opposed to my Jeep, which is from '93. So
Okay, well.
So that beautiful beast of mine, she's kind of ugly, but she gets me where I need to go.
Exactly.
Like here.
Well, at least he was polite enough to let you know that, hey, I did this, and instead of just walking away from it.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of guts on his part,
Yeah,
So I don't know, the way society's going right now, we need a little empathy, in our life, and we need people to realize that, hey, I've done wrong. I'm going to admit to it, and he did it. That's great. And I wish more people would follow that suit and say, hey, and be more understanding. So you didn't freak out on him, did you?
No, yeah, I was tired, but no, I didn't freak out. In all honesty, I would be more apt to freak out on somebody for getting woke up, because I don't sleep enough as is.
Yeah, I feel your pain.
A lot of us don't get enough sleep.
Right.
But I know the guy, he owned up to it, and I was okay. He said he was going to get me a new taillight the next day. Well, that didn't happen. I'm sure there's something that happened. I'm just going to be very understanding on it.
Right.
So in the end, I went to work. I'm like, I can still go to work with a broken taillight. That's fine. Whatever.
Right.
I'll fix, I'll get some tape or something after work, and I'll be able to still drive it. Well, I went outside, and it was a little more in my taillight. My bumper was hanging off halfway.
Oh, Jesus. And then, oh, gosh, that would be just horrible.
So, yeah. Well, I looked at it, shook my head, spun around, went back in the house, called my boss and said, I'm going to work from home today because my car got hit and my bumper's hanging off right now. And my boss was very, understanding of the situation. He wasn't like, you got to be here. It was, you can do this from home, so go ahead and do it from home today. You don't ask much about this. And yeah, in the end, I was able to screw my bumper back into place, because I don't know if that bumper was supposed to be on there in the first place, but it's there. And I ended up buying a new whole taillight assembly. I might be $50 shorter.
Right.
I'll ask him if he can get it to me. Would he get it to me? But
Right.
if he doesn't, I
It
don't
is what
want.
it is. I
Yeah,
mean, and
nobody was hurt.
exactly.
Life goes on. Things
Exactly.
happen.
And when it really comes down to it, at least you were able to fix it and get it done. I mean, yes, granted, you were out that money that on your part, but
Yeah.
at least you were able to do it, in a timely fashion, and nobody was hurt, nothing was,
Yeah. I mean, had to carpool with the wife for a couple days, but
which it happens. It happens. Um, you know,
it's an inconvenience. More out of the fact that her and I work so somewhat different schedules, so it kind of her having to get up early and me having to wait a little later after work and
right, right,
but I mean in the end everyone was understanding. I think I did my part in just staying calm in the situation. I mean
right,
I've freaked out on people in the past for less.
right.
Like getting older, what's the point? You're making your life worse. You're making their life worse. More understanding from everyone, a little bit of empathy. I mean, that guy who screwed up your coffee could be the person. They're just having a bad day.
Exactly.
I mean, nobody screwed up mine, but hey. Yeah,
Exactly.
maybe you have to wait a little extra time to get your drink or something, or maybe your order wasn't quite right. Well, maybe that person found out that someone in their life is
Passed
really
away
sick or
or really
passed away.
sick.
Yeah,
Yeah. You don't know what's going on in their
yeah,
life. I mean, you have no idea. I mean, and that's one thing that I think as human beings, I think I mean, I myself am learning a lot more about human empathy and stuff like that because um, being a foster parent, I'm learning a lot more about that kind of stuff. And you're dealing with other people's problems. You're not just dealing with a kid. You're dealing with what they were taught and how they were taught, and you're almost remolding this young being.
and you have to reprogram yourself to be able to even be able
Exactly. It's
to
not
do
easy.
that.
I know. I mean, I was getting yelled at, this past couple weeks, and for no particular reason for my, young Padawan, but really when it came down to it, he wasn't yelling at me.
No,
He wasn't yelling at me. It was
probably
he
yelling at
was
life.
he was yelling at life. Exactly. He was I was there. I was the I mean, granted, it's not right, but
No, that
and
doesn't change that fact.
but he's not. He's figuring that out slowly but surely. That this is not right. Maybe I shouldn't.
Which brings up another thing that's been noticing a lot of lacking in a lot of our people in society is patience.
Patience, yes.
It truly is a virtue that is lacking in a lot of people, but there are many people out there that have such huge levels of seems like infinite patience. Those people take a lot of that in. They still need somebody to come up and give them a pat on the back and tell
Right.
them that they're living life well, because the happiest looking person could be the saddest looking person
Exactly.
at the same time.
Well, I mean, this will date this episode, but the gentleman, who was it? He was on the was it the Austin Powers movies?
Vern Troy.
Yeah, he passed away
Yeah.
most recently, and they believe it was to do with depression. So
I heard he was a fairly depressed guy.
yes,
Very angry person.
Yes, very angry
That's
and
the
depressed.
Depression probably transforming into anger. And,
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We have no idea. We have no idea. People can portray one thing out in front of you and be another person. Completely different.
Yeah, it goes all into the psychology. We all wear masks and this and that.
Exactly. Hence, like Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, no, granted,
Yeah.
that's a prime example.
That's taking it literally.
Yeah, I mean, I actually read The Psychology of Batman, and it's quite an interesting book. And it goes into the sense, of the separation anxiety as well as, the angst
Transference and all that.
Exactly.
Jazz, I mean, I studied psychology a bit in college and high school.
Exactly.
I'm no psychologist.
No, and neither am I. But I know human nature, and I'm still learning. Even psychologists, they're not even
Oh, it's a constant
qualified. They're
yeah,
always learning.
It's a constant cycle of learning. You
Exactly.
never stop.
You
Anyone
may
who thinks you do
you
is
may
wrong.
have a degree, but honestly, when it really comes down to it, I mean, a degree is nothing more than a piece of paper than a man told you that, oh, you're qualified.
You passed a bunch of classes.
Good for you.
Woo-hoo.
You know,
Hey, not to say that degrees aren't good things.
No, and I'm not
School
and
is
I'm not
good.
dogging school. You know, sometimes
and,
it's for people and sometimes it's not.
That actually reminds me of my own situation with that. I am 3 classes. Well, if you look at the credit hours at our local community college, I'm 2.5 classes away from actually getting my degree, like my associates
Right.
in IT. Life happened. I ended up dropping out because I had to, and it's actually, I mean, I'm still getting really good IT jobs, but in all reality, I'm not. I'm being overlooked for a lot of things that actually I focus my studies in.
Right.
Because even not in school, it's a field where you're always studying something.
Right.
You got to stay up or get out.
Exactly. And and it's a funny thing that you say that because I too am close to a degree, and I actually went to college for illustration and graphic design with a minor in industrial design, and I was actually 3 years. And one more year I needed, and I would have a degree. And then I decided to go back to school to get my teaching degree. And I'm actually close to my history teaching degree. So I have two, and I think I was in the world of trying to, I don't know how to say this. I felt like I needed that piece of paper for that significance or that solidification saying, then I can do this job. But when it really came down to it, and I'm learning this myself, and you'll find this out too later on. I mean, today's subject is about life, and sometimes we're gonna bounce into this because when it really comes down to it, we need to talk about life sometimes. We need to talk about it because if we don't talk about it, we're not focusing on it. And movies portray life. TV series portray life. Just everything that we see in our where we're trying to shut out life by reading and watching movies and doing like that, it's coming back to us. It's still happening. Yeah, I mean it's never gonna stop, and a lot of us run away from things like that. But like I said, I was trying to find that balance in my life, and when it came down to it, I was like, okay, why am I doing all this? Why am I doing all this? And my teachers pretty much told me like, you could start your own studio. I mean, you're talented enough that and you know a lot that you could start your own. And I didn't believe them. I didn't. It wasn't that I didn't believe them. I just felt like I had to have that piece of paper. I had to work for someone. And when it really came down to it, I didn't have to do that. It was me telling myself I had to do it because that's the way I was trained.
Yeah.
That's the way that's the way our parents, were. My parents were.
Well, that's what society has trained us. Because it is that piece of paper. And I mean, mine's more intrinsic. I still plan on getting that degree at some point.
Right.
Because no one in my family has ever gotten one, and I mean, I got a little niece. And I'd like to have her look up and go, yeah, I can do this, just because very few people then have gotten college degrees.
Right.
I could do this if I want to.
Right.
I'm also going to tell her at the same time, it's like, if you don't know what you want to do, maybe take a couple classes at community college. If you still don't know what you want to do after like a semester or so, maybe take a break and live some life, because
exactly, and that's another thing. I mean,
I racked up a lot of debt because I didn't know what I wanted to do.
I'm finally paying off my college, and I'm gonna say it. I'm age 42, and I'm finally paying off my college. But here's the thing: I'm age 42, and I'm starting a studio.
Yeah.
I'm starting a production studio. I'm starting a network. I am starting something huge at age 42, and I know this is awesome. I'm excited. I saw online that there was a lady that she said she was age 60, and she's like, I'm not done. I'm not done yet. I'm gonna continue doing this until I die. And I'm like, go for it, lady. It's just awesome. She's like, I just started, a new business and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you go, you know? And, really when it comes down to it, age is nothing more than a number. Like, before it used to be like, oh yeah, you're this certain age, you have to do this. You're this certain age, you have to do that.
It's funny you talk about that because it was like, it's not necessarily that. We were talking about a group of us where somebody asked me my age, and I'm like, I have to think about that.
Right.
Because when you're younger, it's like they're like, yeah, you turned 13 because that's a big one. You're a teenager now. Okay. My first one thought was 16 when you can get your license.
Right.
Others were like, yeah, I turned 18, I can get porn and cigarettes now, I'm like, okay, that is something. And then 21, you can start drinking.
Well, back in our parents' day and age, it was 18 they could actually drink.
Yeah.
And they were going into service also.
Yeah.
And still is to this day. There's still people able to go into service at age 18.
Well, yeah, but you go to service at 18.
Yeah, exactly. But yet they pushed up the drinking law to 21.
So the mentality of you can die for your country, but you can't drink in your country, which I kind of sort of agree with. That's silly. At the same time, they wanted to make 21. You could be back in Prohibition when there was just no drinking.
Very true. We could. Yeah, we could be.
And that worked out well, didn't it?
Exactly. But, age is
nothing.
Organized
crime.
Well, that's one of my favorite
studies. Which then ended up bringing along things that we know as the lottery.
Exactly. Yes.
And the state.
And the union.
And the union.
Yes, we brought, unionization for, actors and who knows what. We have unions because of, organized crime,
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just, just the whole idea. It's one law, one thing changed, and it just completely changed the world.
Right.
I mean, that's when people, because at the time people were like, yes, the drinking is the bad thing, we need to make it to goes away. And then it's like, people are like, hey, let's just start bootlegging.
Right.
Yeah, we'll just do this. We'll get together.
And then we'll do underground gambling rings and speakeasies and
unintended consequences.
Yeah.
Good intentions with unintended consequences. I love to drink, actually. I like to drink myself. I'm also of age, and I didn't start drinking until I was 21, and other people start drinking when they're younger, and that's their life choices.
Well, me being from the state of Wisconsin, if you're with an adult or your guardian, and you're in a eating establishment, you can have a beverage with your parents.
And
at a certain age.
Iowa, it's a little different from that.
Yes.
It's the parents can provide for their children on their property.
Right.
Because it's viewed as, they're going to maintain them, whatever, and all that stuff. And that's cool, whatever. So, in the state of Iowa, you could get your kid plowed, but at the same time, you could be looked at as
a bad parent.
You could get your kid an unfit parent. You get your kids taken away if you see your kid all sloshed up all the time.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Eventually I like wine. I wouldn't mind teaching my kids about wine one day.
Right.
Now, am I going to be giving them wine when they're like 4 or 5 years old? No. Maybe when they're a little older, it'd be like, you can have a sip and this, and you're going to hate it.
Right.
It's like, my dad did give me a sip of beer when I was a kid, and I hated it. I love beer now. And that is...
Yes.
That is not a one-to-one connection either.
No.
He gave me a sip. I hated it. I'm like, I don't want to even get anywhere near this. It's stinky. It's gross. It tastes bad.
Exactly.
I got older and I was like, oh, I just didn't like that beer. Actually, as a kid, I probably would have hated any beer.
There's different kinds.
Booze. Yeah. Oh my god.
There's so many different kinds of beers.
There's like 8 or 10 breweries that have opened up in town.
We should have a beer fest on here, and we probably wouldn't even get through half of them. You know. I mean, and that's another thing. I mean, and there's so many breweries and distilleries and now open.
And growing up, and vineyards now.
Yeah.
But in growing up, like I didn't drink till I was 21. Like really drink.
Right.
Other than that one sip of beer when I was like 10 or whatever. I don't even remember the age. I just remember there was a sip of beer. It was gross. I didn't want it. I wanted my juice.
Right. Exactly.
And then, yeah.
But see, okay, so when you mentioned the whole prohibition thing and stuff like that, I know we weren't going to get political, but this is actually going.
So we don't get political. I don't want to talk about anything.
No, we're not.
I think you're going to talk.
No, we're not getting political.
I don't.
But when it really comes down to it, alcohol and tobacco and all these other products,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into details, but
they're terrible for you.
They're terrible for you.
Absolutely.
And they're going to hurt you. But yet we still market them to people.
And that's the thing is like when I was younger, like when I became of age to imbibe such things, I was a slow go. I would be like, oh, I'm gonna try this. I don't like that. I want to try this. I like that. And it was kind of experimenting with what I liked.
Right.
And then you get your party friends.
Right.
Everyone's had them. Everyone will have them.
Right.
And it would be like then that was the binge drinking and.
Right.
And now as I've been getting older, like I did binge drinking for a while.
Right.
I even tried to drink my problems away in a few instances.
Exactly, and that goes back to what we were talking about before.
I got older, and I don't do that. I'm like, maybe I'll have a beer, maybe I'll sip on it for an hour.
Right.
Maybe that first beer will go in like 10 minutes.
Right.
It's not that it's a race.
Right.
And I remember at points, there were races.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's like I'm not even enjoying what I'm doing anymore.
Exactly, and that's another thing. I mean, this we look at things differently now that we're maturing. Exactly.
Because trust me, I know 60-year-olds who act like 18-year-olds.
Just
go
to a Jimmy Buffett concert,
I'm good.
Oh, come on, really?
All the granny panties flying everywhere.
Shut up. Don't dog that stuff because
what, the granny panties?
No, well that too. But no, don't dog Jimmy Buffett because Jimmy Buffett is my spirit animal. He is very mellow. Just and James Taylor too. So.
I personally like penguins, and I think unicorns kick ass, but
You don't like parrots? Come on, man.
All right. I've been attacked by a couple, so it's kind of puts you off a little.
Well,
when
and
you
then
have
speaking of which, the whole Jimmy Buffett thing. My goal this year is there is going to be a.
You're gonna go to Cheeseburger in Paradise?
No, I'm actually planning on going to a trop rock concert at the Surf Ballroom.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and it's a bunch of different bands that are going to be playing there. Trop rock is a runoff of Jimmy Buffett's music and stuff. So
it's Jimmy Buffett's new band?
Well, no, actually it's not. It's actually a lot of different bands, and it's really it kind of let's just say it kind of spinned off of a good example is Kenny Chesney.
All right.
Yeah, Kenny Chesney, and I listen to that kind of, I listen to all kind of music, but trop rock is something I'm definitely gonna introduce because it's not very well known, and plus at the Surf Ballroom. I mean, who doesn't want to go to a Surf Ballroom? I mean, don't you want to go to the Surf Ballroom? I mean,
I've been there.
Have you?
Yeah.
Really?
I just went there to go there.
Oh, well.
I was in the area.
That's awesome. I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
I'm like, hey, there it is. Cool.
Yes. And if you all don't know what the Surf Ballroom is, it's basically the last place that the Big Bopper and Richie Valent and Buddy Holly performed before they were in a plane accident.
Yep, smashed that plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, sad.
And American Pie, the song American Pie, was written and mentioned the day that music died.
Yeah.
And yes, it's the story of, you know.
Yeah, it's just a dance hall. That's all it really is.
It is, but so much history is in it. And so many, I mean, I get goosebumps just talking about it because, I mean, music is so important. And it moves us and it gives us emotions and it gives us feelings. And, you know, it's just so many different types of music out there. We're going to be hitting on it quite a bit here too also. And that's the coolest part about, you know, the name Spiking the Punch Bowl. You know, we're definitely going to be talking to a lot of different musicians as well as, you know, bands and you name it, you know, metal, rock, country, you name it. We're gonna hit up because, you know, music is what makes us who we are some days. You know.
Switching gears.
Yes.
Before we run out of time today.
Yes.
I got that capture card to start doing those Let's Plays.
Nice. And
I had 5 people hit me up this week to do Let's Plays.
Nice.
Yeah, like totally different games, different genres. I'm like, cool. I need to get some new equipment.
And I was actually one of them because one of the games that recently came out that I haven't played nor have ever touched was it?
God of War.
Yes, God of War.
Yes. God of War game.
Yes.
Yeah, which looks pretty awesome.
Yes, and hopefully we would definitely do a Let's Play on it.
Hopefully the game does justice to the series.
Right.
Which is a lot of button mashing. It's fun though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I should be getting that next week. So
super excited. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll start actually getting those recorded down and cut up and putting those out there. Those will be going on my gaming YouTube channel.
Okay.
So
cool.
Which feeds into other stuff of ours.
Which feeds into our, you know, our Radio Wastelands YouTube channel. As well as if you want to follow us on Instagram, Radio Wastelands on Instagram. I put up cartoons. I put up our daily lives. You're going to be seeing some podcasts and stuff like that. Not only with you know, Brian and I, but you're going to be seeing it with my significant other, and as well as my young Padawan said he would like to do some stuff in the future. And so we got a lot of awesome things on our plate that we're going to bring to you. But so, like I said before, if you do follow us on Instagram, this is just a snippet of what we do.
Yeah.
And you're going to be seeing a lot more coming out of this world of ours, and we can't wait to blow it up. And like I said, I'm 42 years old. I'm starting this. You know, I'm excited. I feel like I'm 24. I mean,
I like to just play video games.
Yeah, I like to play video games. I like that.
That's a good games. Good old video games.
Exactly. And I like playing video games too. I actually was playing some Mario Kart recently on the Wii. Yes, I suck at it. I'm not very good, but it was quite the fun.
Well, the wife beat Mario Odyssey on her birthday present. I got her a Switch.
Nice.
And yeah, it's just yay money. And she found it. She beat it. It took like 2 weeks. So, you know, just a little nice little cash play. Right. You know, a few sessions here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And then she just blew my mind because she went and did a 180 and picked up the new Doom game on it. Yeah.
Nice.
She's never played Doom before.
But I'm curious how it's gonna. Yeah.
I advised her that she might want to put it on the easiest setting to start with.
Nice.
And she did, and it's still a fun pain game.
Nice.
And then I played for a little bit and never played on the Switch before. And it might have caused her head to spin a little bit because I was just zipping around killing everything so fast.
I just found my Super Nintendo recently, so I can't wait to hook that up and get some more games for it. Those of you out there in gaming world, if you have any Super Nintendo games you want to get rid of, I will soon put up an address where you can send them to. I will, and we will play them, and we'll put those up on our feed also. Super Nintendo, wow, one of my all-time favorites when I was growing up, as well as Nintendo. Yes, I used to sit up countless hours a night trying to on Super Mario World, and trying to find the princess.
I remember when I got my Super Nintendo, I was working 2 paper routes and bought it myself.
Nice.
Yeah. Saved up, and I was like, they're like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I want this.
See, I had to start all over with my Super Nintendo. I had somebody steal my Super Nintendo and my games, so I had to start from scratch again. So I had tons of games, and I had to start all over because, but it's all right, They needed it more than I did,
It kind of roundabouts what we started with. It's like
exactly.
You can get mad about it. You can get upset. In all reality, feel your feelings. You got to feel it out.
Yeah.
It sounds really hippie, whatever, coming from the dude who looks like he could beat most people.
Exactly. But peace, love.
But it's like feel your feelings. Don't bottle them up.
No.
But understand why you feel the way you feel. Like the wife goes, she's like, there's this situation, it's upsetting me. She's like, am I going to be mad about it in an hour? She's like, yeah. Am I going to be mad in a day? She's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And she keeps going. She's like, am I going to still even care in a year? And she's like, no.
Probably not.
And in all reality, it goes from she could be fuming for the next 3 days on something to she is logic through it and no longer cares.
But then
she'll still complain about it,
right? But then on another note, there is that toxicness of that. If you keep that feeling with you, it can actually hurt you in the long run.
Yeah, life's too short. It's not worth it.
Exactly. It
took me too many years to figure that one out.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah. And so but I think this is a good ending point.
Yeah.
I think it's a great ending point. So, really when it comes down to it, if you guys, if you like our show, please, mash the button, tell your friends, put a message in the world of, podcast.
Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz.
Exactly. Just do it all up. I mean,
it gives us a warm fuzzy whenever we see that.
And, really when it comes down to it, we're gonna be putting this content out there because this is what people need to hear. I mean, they need to hear real life. And you have all these wonderful podcasts out there, and I commend them all. And they're all on a different page. Well, I wanna have a page where, yes, we will have fun, on our podcast, and we will do other things, but this is us, this is who we are. And it's a blast.
Well, just gotta thank Java Creek Cafe
one
more
Java
time
Creek,
for
hosting
us.
us.
Do this.
And with no further ado, this is Billy. I mean, no, this is Robert.
And I'm Brian.
And you just listen to the Spike and the Punch Bowl podcast.
Have a good one.
We're out.
He just slaughtered a bunch of old people!